Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today is Bridezilla Saturday, with the craziest wedding stories from across Reddit. Posted by Perpetually Chaotic. The caterer stole the food. We got married during COVID, so only had 7 people. My husband is Nigerian, and I'm Swedish, so for his mum, it was important to have a party. We happily obliged. I told her she could be in charge of everything. I just wanted to have a portion of the invite list to invite our friends. She is so wonderful. She even bought me a beautiful dress that I wouldn't have been able to afford. She also ordered traditional Nigerian wedding outfits for us to change into. Anyway, the caterer she picked was a lady who I believe was Nigerian. It was pretty much all Nigerian food, but my mother-in-law also bought a few large lamb joints and 3 large salmons that she prepared herself, as the caterer charged too much for that. She also bought Costco cakes, and a friend baked an amazing 3-layered cake as an official wedding cake. So, the caterer had told my mother-in-law in advance that there would be enough food for everyone, 120 people, and enough food for every single person to take some food home if they want to. Mother-in-law bought about 70 food containers. On the day, once food was done and they were packing up, mother-in-law goes and asks about the guests taking home food. The caterer had the audacity to say that people had already taken food to take home, so not only did she keep all the extra food, but she stole the Tupperware. They also tried to take the leftover salmon and lamb, 2 of which were untouched, but mother-in-law managed to see that happen and stop them. They even had the cheek to ask to take the leftover Costco cakes. I wish mother-in-law would have left an honest review, but she doesn't do reviews and feels like what's done is done. Our next post comes from the AmItheAsshole subreddit, posted by AdeptAd4256. Am I the a-hole for telling my son he needs to get over us missing his wedding? My son got married a few years ago. He lives on the other side of the country than us. He got a great job opportunity after college, so he moved. 2 years ago, he got married to Jenny, and from what I heard, it was a beautiful wedding. So the whole issue started when we were trying to get there. The wedding was on a Saturday, and our plane left Thursday night. Well, it got delayed, and then delayed another 4 times. Friday morning at this point. And then all the planes got cancelled due to a storm. When that happened, it was clear that we were not leaving, and driving there would take too long. 36 hours! And we'd still miss the ceremony. So we informed him, and he was pissed. We sent our well wishes and said we could FaceTime in if he wanted. He told us no, and we saw a video of him getting married. Now the present day issue. Any time we get in any argument, or he wants us to do something, he pulls the "we missed his wedding" card. We were talking over the phone about hosting Thanksgiving this year. He got mad, saying, "Why won't you visit us?" And I told him, we don't have the money for a trip and we just saw him in July. Yes, we went to him. We got into an argument and he pulled the "you missed our wedding, it's the least you can do." I told him enough and that he needs to get over it. He called me a jerk. I was all ready to say that you were the a-hole. But yeah, a massive storm between you and the wedding seems a pretty reasonable reason to not go. What was he expecting you to do? Drive through a storm all night? This guy can sure hold a grudge. Posted by BroadFerret9637. Am I the a-hole for supposedly stealing attention from the bride and groom? I, 25 female, live in a small town. My family's still pretty big though, and it's mainly filled with kids raised by other family members. Young pregnancy here, a fair baby there, etc. I, in fact, am the illegitimate guardian of my cracked out sister's kid. The father technically has custody, but threw my niece out of the house for peace and let me keep her unofficially to avoid court. It's just the unfortunate way things are done around here. But we try our hardest to keep the family happy and drama-free. Last year, my cousin Jay, 25 male, got engaged to Lisa, 20 female, who we went to school with. Jay's a cousin on my mother's side. I don't talk to that side much, as they're a little too judgmental, a little too biblically live, love, laugh for me, but I love them still. So when Jay announced the wedding, I congratulated him, but did nothing more. However, I talked to my mum, and it turned out the wedding was way more special than I thought. Not only was it the first wedding with newlyweds, a few recent weddings were second and third marriages. It was taking place at a venue on a small lake. I was impressed. Usually weddings in our family are simple. Ceremony at church and a barbecue in someone's back garden, but this actually piqued my interest. I got more info from Jay and got told the wedding would be in late summer, early fall, not too cold, not too hot. I also got an invitation where the theme was formal and we could just wear our church clothes as usual, and the date of the wedding would be August 24th of the following year, 2023. I said perfect, and I took time off the day before, the day of, and the day of the wedding. I took my niece to get some pretty clothes because she didn't like her church dress that much. It was all going great until 7 months later, July of 2023. That's when we were notified that it was going to be child-free. Everyone was freaking out, including me. We've all been planning, taking time off work and getting clothes, only for this late announcement? For a week, everyone was blowing up and talking about Jay and Lisa. I honestly couldn't even talk to my mum, as she'd bring it up in a huff, even though her 2 kids are grown. Personally, I feel like no one was talking to Lisa properly, so I personally called them and spoke to her. I told her how late this announcement was and how child prominent our family is. How she knows that our town is 5,000 people large and there's no babysitters around. I told her how my 9-year-old niece can't be home during the day all by herself like that. Lisa responded by going off on me, saying that I'm trying to guilt trip her and that the family is manhandling her and Jay's choice and that we don't have to come. The decision was final. I tried to persuade her again, but she just hung up. After that, I didn't bring it up again. I was honestly so upset that I'd used my paid time off for an event that I can't even go to. But as luck may have it, on the first week of August, my paid time off for the wedding was denied. So now I definitely couldn't go without my niece. To explain why, I'm an RN and I work night shifts. I put my niece to bed and go to work. I'm home by the time the school bus shows up. I'm not about to leave her for 24 hours and be as bad as her dad. The week of the wedding arrived. Me and my niece were chilling when she asked me if I was going to the wedding. I said no, and she said, "Oh man, I wanted a barbecue." I then said there probably wouldn't be any. It was a very fancy wedding. We had a little back and forth, but the end result was me planning a barbecue at my place for all those who couldn't attend the wedding. I chose the day of the wedding, as many people had called that day off, and just kept it. I called a few family members, but didn't imply anything, just asked if they were going. If they said yes, I left them be. If they said no, I invited them. On the day of the wedding, my backyard was crowded. My uncle brought the grill, my cousin got the ribs, and auntie brought deviled eggs. It was the bomb. Even some family on my dad's side showed up. Well, the wedding was at 5-ish, but we started the grill at 12:30 p.m. It wasn't until baby Ray's deep in food when the phone call started. My aunt, Jay's mother, got a phone call. She was loud and everyone started to listen. I asked later and it was basically like this. Jay, Mama, where are you? Aunt, at the barbecue at OP's place. Why do you ask? Jay, well, I heard Mark, cousin, say you weren't here. Why is that? Aunt, well, the wedding was no kids under 18 and you know I have to watch your brother. Jay, he's 17 years old. He can watch himself. What do you mean? Aunt, and you could have watched out for your family too. Hangs up. After that conversation, Jay immediately called me, and that conversation wasn't pretty either. Me, yeah? Jay, so you're just gonna throw a party on my wedding day? If you had an issue with me, you could have said that earlier. Me, I don't have an issue with you. You knew everyone has a child under them, and had to call off work today. Jay, so no one could get a babysitter? No one? Y'all had half a year. Me, y'all didn't tell anyone until a month ago. Don't try that and ask your parents why they didn't show up. I hung up too because I didn't want to deal with it. The day was super fun either way, and I got to keep some food for my night shift. When I woke up the next day, I saw my phone had blown up. I sleep with my phone on Do Not Disturb. As kid at school equals 8 hours of sleep. I looked at the messages and it was filled with passive-aggressive texts from that side of the family. I just facepalmed and sighed. They attended the party, but now it was my fault for even throwing it in the first place. I feel like I wasn't in the wrong at all, but a week's passed and my mum keeps asking me to apologise to my cousin-in-law. I just have to ask, am I the a-hole? Down in the comments, James Flaherty 2020 says, the worst part of the Hollywood writers' strike is they all end up here on Reddit threads. Yeah, so the story's obviously fake. I mean, her paid time off got denied, yet she still had the day off? That was a bit of a giveaway. But this story was hilarious, so I wanted to include it anyway. Posted by Mrs. Bunnypants 26. Cousin won't pay for my ruined wedding dress. I got married in 2019. My grandma, who is also my cousin's grandma, was a professional seamstress and made an absolutely beautiful wedding dress for me. She made them for all the brides in our family, but she passed away early last year. My cousin got engaged about a year ago and begged to use my dress since we're about the same size. It's important to note, this isn't a family wedding dress. My grandma made one for each of us. I agreed as long as she would pay for the dress to be cleaned and preserved after she was done with it. I was very clear this would cost about $200 and she was okay with that. As a wedding gift to her, I paid for minor alterations, which came out to about $250. So she had a wedding 2 weeks ago, and last week she returned my gown. She left it on the porch while I was out. I opened up the dress, and not only is it still dirty, it's ruined. There are food stains practically smeared into the fabric, and it's torn in several places. One sleeve is half torn off. It must have happened at the wedding after party, which my husband and I didn't go to as we had to get home to our babysitter. I called my cousin immediately, and she didn't answer. I kept calling until she picked up, and she was like, "Oh, just get it cleaned and send me the bill." I told her how upset I was with her and that this was not okay. I said I was going to bring it to the cleaners and a seamstress and tell her how much it would cost, if they could even fix it. She rushed me off the phone and said she would send me money. She still hasn't, despite me asking many times. The seamstress can fix my dress, but the dry cleaners tell me it will basically be impossible to get the stains out. There's literally a sauce stain at the bottom, as if she sat on a pizza. They said they'd try, but between the seamstress and the cleaning, plus the preserving, it cost at least $600. So I sent my cousin pictures and everything, and she ignored me. I kept calling and calling until finally her husband picked up and said they were going to pay for the $200, but not the rest, because that's what we agreed to, and to stop bothering them. I said that I planned to take her to court. I have text messages showing that she agreed to the cleaning and everything. She's saying it's usual wear and tear, but it's definitely not. My aunt has called me a bunch of times, saying I'm a horrible person for threatening to sue a newlywed couple, and she's trying to turn the whole family against me. My aunt and cousin pointed out that we didn't even bring a wedding gift, and now we're adding insult to injury by threatening to sue. But when I was texting my cousin, I was very clear that us paying the $250 for alterations was our gift. In my mind, that's a lot of money to spend already. I don't know what to do at this point. I wanted my daughter to be able to wear this dress one day if she wanted to. I'm so upset. My parents offered to pay to get the dress repaired, but they shouldn't have to. Not to mention, the dress might be too stained to fix anyway. What do I do? Take it to court for just the $200? Or the $600? Just leave it and let my parents pay to keep the piece? They can afford it, but I don't want them to. Yikes! Sounds like she didn't really have that much respect for your grandma's handmade dress after all. Can you sue for sentimental value? I'd still keep the dress and offer to have the dress remade, using whatever fabric can be salvaged for your daughter, in whatever style she wants. So then at least she can still have a piece of her grandma with her, even if it's not the exact same style. Remember, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.